Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alfany. So Ripple put out its Q4 2022 XRP markets report. And I want you to scroll down. Take a look at the XRPL on-chain activity. See, these are the things that are important. Look at the section that says XRP burned for transaction fees. This is something to keep in mind when we think about that price going up. Just imagine when there's regulatory clarity, or if we have a victory over the SEC, which definitely is possible now that the LBRY hearing, we had that massive victory yesterday, as reported by the lawyer Jeremy Hogan. All right, we'll get to that in a moment. But look at the section that says XRP burned for transactions. So in Q4, it says 101,968. That's Q4 2022. Q3 2022, it was 146,433. In Q4 2021, it was 365,701. You know, at that time, we're doing a little bit better. You didn't have the FTX collapse and all these different things going on at that particular time, which definitely had an impact on everything. But even given that circumstance, still looking pretty good. Now, just imagine, right? Because factually speaking, Ripple has hundreds of financial institutions signed up. And that's not even counting the ones that will sign up, that we were told by the head of SBI Remit are waiting on the side. All right. Hundreds of financial institutions begin using XRP, the XRPL, all at the same time. Imagine how much XRP will be burned then if we're burning this much now, which is a little bit of activity, right? Because right now, everything's still just being set up, which Ripple made clear in a document that they released. There's a document, it's on their Twitter, okay? I don't have it up right now, but you can find it. They just posted it today. But in that document, if you read it, it says something like banks will be able to benefit from it, not in days from XRPL. Banks will be able to benefit from it, not in days, not in weeks. They say years. Now, you don't have to take Ripple's word for it. I know some people are like, but the tsunami comes with the banks. Of course, there's going to be an explosion when the case is over, in my humble opinion. Not financial advice. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Make your own decisions. But when the case is over, I think that's logical. That's not the bank money. That's not the bank explosion. Keep in mind, there was a document. Please tell me. I know you guys screenshot it. Some of my people, they screenshot everything. They save everything. Good job. There was a document Ripple released last year. It was maybe around May, April, or June, somewhere in there. And they said themselves, they were expecting everything to be fully up and running. They're talking about all the different banks, financial institutions, the bulk of them utilizing the system. They said 4 years. They said 4 years. That's the banks. Like I said, there's going to be explosions along the way. That's like retail, FOMO, when the case is over. Non-banking financial institutions also, you got that in there, cross-border payments, types, stuff like that. There's going to be explosions in price, in my humble opinion, in degrees. But the tsunami, the big one, boom, the big one, that's the banks. That's going to take time. When you're talking about the tsunami, you literally can't rush it. Infrastructure, testing in digital sandboxes, interoperability with all these different systems. Each CBDC is going to have a different system. It takes time. Then training the people how to use it. They don't know anything about using this stuff. And there's a shortage of blockchain experts. There's a shortage. So you're going to have to train. They're training people right now. You have all of this going on and you're trying to change an entire system of the world. That takes a little time. I think that it's moving at a pretty good pace, in my humble opinion. So you had Ripple say 4, then you had the Bank of International Settlements, once again, in their own documents. You don't have to go by what they're saying, though. That's true. You can go by with your own estimations. And you should always trust yourself. But in their document, they said 2 to 3 years. That document was released, what, in like, it was either November or December. This past November or December, they released that document. So it's recent, 2 to 3 years. That's what they said. All right. So I'm keeping that in mind to when that bank money comes. The other money is going to be great. That price is going to go up, in my humble opinion, not financial advice. I have to always say that. But when you're talking about that giant explosion, that life-changing generational wealth, and of course that depends on how much XRP one has. But when you're talking about that life-changing explosion, that comes with the banks. So when I see this, that's where my mind is. Then also take into account, I'm looking at this, I'm just doing calculations in my head. I hope you are as well. But when I'm looking at this, 101,000, 146,000, then when they were doing a little bit better, 365,000, I'm thinking about how much value is going to be flowing through and how that affects the burn rate. That's something I need to look into. Does anybody know that? What's the rate? The burn rate, right? But anyway, if you're going to have millions of dollars possibly per interbank payment transaction, even if you break it up, remember they have that system where you could break up the payments. But it's still considered between two parties. You can do that, but it's still considered one payment. So you're sending millions back and forth daily. That's a high value, high volume. Let's say we take the lower end of interbank payments, 400,000, 500,000. That's still a lot. That's a lot more moving across consistently then than it is now. What does it do to that price? That price would raise it though. It would raise. So I get excited when I'm thinking about this. So as all of that money is flowing through, you're getting a massive amount of XRP being burned. What does it do to that price? So it's looking good, in my opinion. Very good. This is the stuff I want to see. I like this. Put those numbers out there. Ripple, you keep doing a good job. So far, I'm satisfied. So far, if they did something wrong, I'll tell you. But right now, looking good. So now let's move on, man. I made myself happy. I wasn't feeling too good earlier. I'm feeling happy now. When I think about this money and I'm starting to do calculations, I start feeling better. That's why it's not a joke. I don't exaggerate things, right? So like at the end of the video, sometimes I do gold and I say gold makes me happy. It's true. Talking about certain things, it brings me joy. So once more, for anybody who didn't hear it, I know almost everybody heard about it. We had a massive victory over the SEC yesterday. The warrior, one of our warriors in the XRP army. All of you are warriors also. You're great also. Mr. John Deaton was at the LBRY hearing, brought home a massive, massive victory. This is what Jeremy Hogan said. Attorney Jeremy One on Twitter said this. First word from the SEC LBRY hearing. The SEC admitted on the record that the token itself is not a security. Do you understand the implications of this? Oh, bring that money home. Ripple, it's time. It's our time. It's our time. Imagine oh my goodness. Imagine what you could do when we win this case and them prices skyrocket. Just imagine. Peace, more freedom. You got a business. You want to expand. My goodness, the possibilities are endless. I know everybody has different reasonings for wanting the price to go up. But this, and that's not financial advice. This was huge. Says John Deaton says, just finished speaking on the record with the judge in court. Court is not over. Checking at 6 p.m. He forced the SEC, the judge, says the judge and I talked about at Lewis Cohen's article, and he forced the SEC to commit on the record. On the record. This is very good for us now that the case is in Judge Annalisa Torres's hands. So let's hope for the best and this brings us a little closer to an assured victory. Of course, anything is possible, just being reasonable. Anything is still possible, but this brings us much closer to a victory. Now, right, this also applies, we should add this little piece on to something I wrote in the members only section. Once again, if you're in the members only section, you haven't seen those posts that I've been writing lately, you got to go over to the channel, go to the members only section or the communities tab. You're going to see what I wrote. So this definitely applies to One of those posts that I put there, okay? Now, let's move on here. This is an article from U.Today, and it's titled, XRP Ledger adds EUR transfer capabilities. Look how strong they've been making the XRPL lately. Getting it ready, making sure that it's second to none. This is good. This ensures that that money will continue to flow once everything is up and running. It says, speaking on expanded support on Twitter, Bitstamp wrote, quote, we're expanding our IOU services on the XRPL. You can now use EUR-backed IOUs as your gateway to the XRP ledger. Dip your toes into, that's a weird way to say this, okay? Dip your toes into DeFi with cost-effective and fast transfers. Increase transparency and zero transfer fees on all IOU transfers. So the XRPL continues to get stronger, better, faster, more security, all in preparation for what is to come. I'm telling you, the future is very bright, in my humble opinion. And so far, I'm satisfied with everything that's going on. Now, let's move on to a little bit of Stellar news, okay? Now, keep in mind, when we're talking about Stellar, you have the Stellar Foundation, but you also had their for-profit branch, which was created by Jed McCaleb, which was Interstellar. What did Interstellar become? The head of Interstellar was Mike Kennedy. Interstellar was merged with Velo. My apology. Merged with Velo. Mike Kennedy then became the head of Velo. So that means Velo right now is like the for-profit branch of Stellar. Velo and Velo Protocol runs on Stellar. So what they do is may have a huge impact on Stellar and Xlm's price. I mean, there's no guarantees in anything, of course, but let's take a look at this here, right? But first, I want to just read this little tidbit here. Just to clarify to you that what I'm saying is true, I have to give you some actual evidence. It says Velo Labs, and then we'll move into what the new news was, okay? Velo Labs, a cross-border settlement protocol backed by Thai conglomerate CP Group, has merged with Interstellar, a payment startup that runs on the Stellar network. The firms announced on Monday that following the merge, Interstellar CEO Mike Kennedy and CTO James Wu will become the new CEO and CTO of Velo Labs, respectively. Interstellar was formed in 2018 as a Visa and Citi backed chain and was acquired by Stellar startup Lightyear.io, which teamed up with two crypto entrepreneurs, Adam Ludwin and Jed McCaleb. The latter now serves as the founder of Interstellar, right? The firms did not disclose the nature in terms of the merger, but people familiar with the deal told The Block that Velo Labs effectively acquired Interstellar in a 9-figure deal, right? And it's bet to accelerate its blockchain remittance network development that runs on Stellar. So everything that Velo does runs on Stellar. Now, that brings us to this. I have to give the history first. There's a lot of new people here who may not know that information and know why I'm speaking about these things in a particular way. So, Velo official put this out. This is good activity. It says here, we're launching 5 exciting products soon. 1, #Universe, a hybrid DEX, decentralized exchange. 2, #Orbit, crypto payments app. All of this, unless they tell us different, is on Stellar. Unless they change things dramatically and they're going to tell us different, Velo is on Stellar. Okay, you heard what I just read from an actual article. #Quantum, Velo Protocol Reimagined. Now that's going to be interesting. I need to know the details of that. I need to know that it's still running across Stellar, still running on Stellar, still built on Stellar. They said reimagine. In what way? So that's something that I'm going to try to look into. It says #Warp, X-Chain Bridge. So now they got bridges. #Nova, Velo EVM compatible chain. So more info daily. Okay, so we're going to try to stay up to date on this. So what this means to me is this could possibly, no guarantees, possibly bring more volume and more value to the Stellar chain. The more volume, of course, you know what I like to say, surge pricing is triggered with higher volume and congestion. We want all the congestion possible. It could possibly bring good value. We'll see over time. This is a payments network. Also, keep in mind, Velo teamed up with or merged with EveryNet. EveryNet merged with LightNet. So we have a massive payments network. All of them trying to compete with Swift, right? LightNet made its intentions clear that it first wanted to begin in Southeast Asia, but then eventually it wanted to expand to the rest of the world. So keep that in mind as well as time goes on, right? If you're going to be here for a while, who knows? I don't know how long everyone plans to, be into Stellar and into Xlm. That I don't know. But if you're in here for a while, that's something to keep in mind if you're a long-term holder. So keep that in mind. So a giant network of companies trying to compete with Swift, that could definitely, in my humble opinion, I know I say that a lot. My apologies. Who's the commenter that told me they're gonna get me a thesaurus? Hey, when's my thesaurus coming? You think? I see the comments, man. I've replied to a lot of comments. I don't know if people see my replies or not, because I have to remove so many bots I'm removing. Right. So some people may think that if they get a little notification that maybe it's a bot reply to them. No, I reply to you. I reply to a lot of comments and I remove bots. The problem with bots is I remove 1, 2 come in. I remove 2, 3. One day, it was maybe 2 days ago, I removed maybe 16 bots. Remove high user report. They just keep coming back. So it's like this never ending battle. My apologies. But I do see the comments. So I'm waiting on my thesaurus. All right. I have some funny people there. I appreciate every single person in the comment section. Thank you so much for being there, showing me some love, man. I love every single one of you. Thank you, man. I tell you that from the bottom of my heart and the top too. Why do people say the bottom of my heart? Is that where is this like the depths? Like I need to look up the origination of that term. But my intention is to say, I love you with the fullness of my heart. Appreciate you all out there. All right. So now let's so this is good activity, in my humble opinion, on the Stellar blockchain. So now let's go here. So then Stellar had this little tweet it put out. It says remittances are largely still a manual process. People have to travel. We know all these problems with remittances, of course. But I like this push. Like, I want more tweets. I want more, not like advertisements, but how could I put it? I want to see Stellar on the news more. I want to see more articles written about Stellar. Like, reach out to some people. Have them write about it. I know you're the foundation, but have Velo or somebody, if Interstellar still has a portion of it, have somebody reach out. Let's get some more stuff written about Stellar. Why? The unbanked need to know. You're worried about the unbanked, right? Of course, I wanted to spread because I know it affects Xlm's price. I know that. But at the same time, it's beneficial in all ways, right? So I like this because it's more of them putting out there, hey, Stellar is here. We're doing our thing. You can use us to have better cross-border payments. You can use us for payroll. We're doing Stellar Aid Assist. All of this is good. I like to see more. That's all I'm saying. So this is good. So it says here, send or receive remittances in physical cash, which can present safety concerns. At Felix, Pago, and Bitso offer a solution. Yes, I like this promotion. Felix, a WhatsApp-based payments platform that enables US-based Latino immigrants to send money, partners with Bitso, the largest cryptocurrency platform in Latin America, to speed up remittance from days to seconds. I like to know what are their offline capabilities, like in certain areas. Together, they provide cheaper and faster remittances. So this is very good. So Stellar is spreading a little bit more, and more people can benefit from it. And also, like I said, more volume, more value can definitely possibly affect that price of Xlm in the future. Of course, everything is happening in degrees. They have a lot of shearing up to do with a lot of these offerings. That's another reason why things take time. They have to make it look a little bit better, a little bit more streamlined. They have to be concerned with easeability of use, but over time, things will improve. Most things start out a little bit rough. Do you remember the internet in the beginning? Oh my word. It was rough and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty either. So give it some time. Okay, so now let's move on to some Algorand news. All right. So this is from Algorand. It says here, say hello to a new era of trust with Algorand. Join us for part 2 of our discussion on companies. Here's the important part. Companies using blockchain tech to revolutionize supply chain. I told you. As a traceability protocol, Algorand is dominating. To use that phrase, revolutionizing supply chain, just tells you how much they're dominating right now. I love to see this. I want to see more of it. Of course, I'm always going to ask for more, but they've been doing a great job. You know, they were used via Koi banks as a traceability protocol down in Latin America. We covered a new offering yesterday that's also using Algorand as a traceability protocol. We have another offering that is regulatory compliant using Algorand as a payments platform in Europe. That was huge. So many big things happening with Algorand lately. They've just been doing a great job. So then you have this tweet here also. The world is starting to figure out who is building superior tech. So you're starting to see more and more. Algorand is starting to take that proper place as the leading bank coin at this particular time. And I would say they're the most balanced. That's what I would say. They're the most balanced. They've been dominating as far as dominating in the most sectors. I'd say Algorand is number 1. If you're going to talk about just banks exclusively, then Ripple would be number 1, in my humble opinion. XRP would be number 1. So it says here, at Silvio Macali is the only hashtag blockchain founder to have received both a Turing Award and the Gödel Prize for his contributions to cryptography, including zero knowledge proof. So I'm glad they said this, because oftentimes I call individuals like Silvio Macali a genius. And a lot of people may wonder why or think I'm just saying that. No, this is actually a brilliant individual. I'm not just saying that. So as you see, a Turing Award, a Gödel Prize, right? This is a brilliant person. And that's another reason why a lot of institutions are going to trust Algorand, because they know it was designed by one of, if not the most brilliant mind in crypto right now. They're going to trust that. They know it's secure. They know it's functional. You see him here pointing to an equation. He probably can show you the equations on the spot. They understand. He knows what he's talking about. So when he gives you a certainty, you go with that. So that's going to bring in a lot of potent partnership. And that's another reason why I say anytime you see 2 individuals from Algorand come out, in my humble opinion, if you see Stacey Wharton come out, or if you see Silvio Macali come out, understand that's when they're trying to draw the most attention, and they're trying to close big deals and bring in big partnerships, in my humble opinion, because those 2, their names ring bells. It's my humble opinion, but this is what I've seen, right? So now let's move on to here. Algorand had another tweet. It says, our hashtag gaming ecosystem is growing strong. At PGPal, our head of gaming, hosted most of the top and upcoming gaming projects building on Algorand. I love to hear this. I want them to continue to expand in gaming. They've been doing a great job. And I think that gaming has a bright future. I definitely will want to take some of that gaming money. Plus, it puts more algo out there in flow. It has algo consistently being used, and it brings some good value, some good volume. You know, gamers, they're very persistent. They play a lot. So if you get a couple of good offerings, and maybe you get a bunch of good offerings in gaming. Now we have consistent use of algo. Can be used to buy skins in a game, extra items in game. People do this all the time. You see Fortnite with, what was it, V-Bucks. You got Roblox with their Robux. Heck, you can have something based on Algorand. And now that's more algo being used to move certain amounts of value. This could be really good. So I'd like to hear this. They're dominating in gaming. They're dominating in music. They're dominating in healthcare. They're dominating as a traceability protocol. They're dominating in payments. How anyone could think that Algorand is going to do anything other than win, I don't know. I don't know. So now let's move on here. I'm going to end off today with a little bit of gold news. All right. Gold makes me happy. It definitely does. So this is on gold.org, okay? And it's titled, gold demand trends full year 2022. So it says here, 2022, strongest year for gold demand in over a decade. Colossal central bank purchases aided by vigorous retail investor buying and slower ETF outflows lifted annual demand to an 11-year high. Annual gold demand jumped 18% to 4,741 T, almost on par with 2011, a time of exceptional investment demand. The strong full year total was aided by record Q4 demand of 1,337 T. Jewelry consumption softened. Oh, we heard about this. Also, I heard about that a lot in, I believe it was in India. But jewelry consumption softened a fraction in 2022, down 3% at 2,086 T. Much of the weakness came through in the fourth quarter as gold price surged. Right, so gold price goes up, so maybe the makers and stuff like that of these different products or these different jewelries, they could buy a little bit less, especially in what they're calling developed nations and such like that, even though those nations are getting pretty freaking big and developed. Investment demand reached 1,107 T, plus 10% in 2022. Demand for gold bars and coins grew 2%. Yeah. Oh, yeah. To 1,217 T. I expect that to increase, in my humble opinion, over the next 2 years. I believe it's going to increase dramatically. Like I always say, as deteriorating economic circumstances increases, I think that the coveting of gold, the holding of gold, retreating to gold for safety to protect value is only going to increase. I could be wrong on that, but this is just my humble opinion, okay? While holdings of gold ETFs fell by a smaller amount than in 2021, which further contributed to total investment growth. Quarterly fluctuations in OTC demand largely netted out over the year. All right, so once again, there's a lot more to this gold article here. They have the highlights here and a lot of nice little numbers. That's on gold.org. This is an article that was on this was at the top of the heap here on their research portion of the website. Okay, so now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.